Perched atop Dominican Hill in Baguio City, the Diplomat Hotel stands in eerie silence. Its crumbling facade, a ghostly reminder of the horrors that transpired within its walls. Welcome to the Vault of Horrors. Once a place of solace, it is now considered one of the most haunted places in the Philippines. The hotel's past is steeped in tragedy, violence, and suffering, and those who enter often report whispers in the dark, shadowy figures in the corridors, and headless apparitions wandering the ruins. But before it became a haunted husk, the building served a different purpose, a place meant for peace and reflection, but one that would become a site of unimaginable terror. The structure that now looms in eerie abandonment was originally built in 1913 by Spanish Dominican priests as a retreat house and seminary. It was a place of worship and meditation, where the clergy and religious scholars sought refuge from the chaos of the outside world. With its stunning view of Baguio's mountains and pine forests, the retreat house was meant to be a sanctuary of faith and tranquility. For years, it functioned as a sacred place of prayer, where Dominicans gathered in peaceful devotion. But that peace would not last. World War II, a house of blood and death, 1940s. The tranquility of the retreat house was shattered during World War II when Japanese forces invaded the Philippines. Baguio, being a strategic location, became a battleground. The once holy refuge was seized by Japanese soldiers and transformed into a torture chamber and execution site. The priests, nuns, and refugees who sought shelter in the building found no mercy. Japanese soldiers stormed the halls, dragging out anyone they found. Nuns and priests were mercilessly slaughtered. Many were beheaded, their lifeless bodies left to rot inside the building. Civilians hiding within were tortured and executed, their desperate cries swallowed by the thick Baguio fog. The once sacred halls ran red with blood, and the walls absorbed the pain and suffering of those who perished. It is said that the beheaded spirits of the priests and nuns still roam the corridors today, searching for their missing heads. After the war, the retreat house was abandoned, left to decay in silence. For years, it stood as a grim reminder of the horrors that had taken place within. Then, in the 1970s, a businessman named Antonio Agapito, Tony Agpawa, bought the property and converted it into the Diplomat Hotel, a high-end retreat for wealthy guests. Agpawa, a well-known faith healer, envisioned it as a spiritual sanctuary where people could come for healing and relaxation. But the spirits of the past never left. Almost immediately, guests and hotel staff began experiencing unexplainable phenomena. The hotel's transformation did nothing to cleanse the horrors of its past. Instead, it became a hotspot for paranormal activity. Guests would wake up to the sound of unearthly cries and whispers. The clanking of chains and dragging of footsteps echoed through empty hallways. Doors would slam shut on their own, as if unseen hands were closing them. The headless apparitions of priests and nuns were seen wandering the corridors, their ghostly forms searching for the heads they had lost. Even Tony Agpawa himself was said to have been affected by the hotel's dark energy. He suffered a sudden heart attack inside the hotel, and after his passing, the Diplomat Hotel was permanently shut down in the 1980s. Decades later, the Diplomat Hotel remains abandoned, a decaying ruin standing against the misty skyline of Baguio. Its walls, now covered in cracks and graffiti, still seem to whisper stories of the past to those who dare to enter. Visitors who step inside speak of an overwhelming feeling of dread, as if being watched by unseen eyes. Paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and curious tourists have all reported strange encounters. Echoes of cries and prayers, as if the spirits of the murdered priests and nuns are still trapped in their final moments. The chilling sight of a headless nun standing in the doorway, only to vanish the moment someone blinks. Shadows darting across the halls, moving too quickly for the eye to follow. Cameras and electronic devices suddenly malfunctioning, as if the spirits reject being captured. Locals warn that when the fog rolls in, the spirits become most active. Some claim that if you stand alone in the courtyard at night, you might hear faint chanting, as if ghostly prayers still linger in the air. One of the most chilling legends surrounding the Diplomat Hotel involves the fountain at the center of the courtyard. According to stories, the Japanese soldiers used the fountain as an execution site, beheading priests, nuns, and civilians, and letting their blood flow into the water. The fountain, now dry and cracked, is said to be a portal for spirits, a place where the energy of the massacred lingers strongest. Visitors claim that at midnight, the fountain begins to glow faintly, and if you listen closely, you can hear soft murmurs and weeping. Some even say they have seen bloody water flowing through it, only for it to disappear the next second. Today, the Diplomat Hotel is open to the public, its ruined state attracting paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, and thrill-seekers looking to experience its dark history firsthand. Despite its horrific past, the city has attempted to rebrand it as a historical landmark, but the spirits seem unwilling to be forgotten. Those who visit say the building still breathes with the energy of its past. Some leave with only stories of eerie silence, while others leave terrified, claiming to have seen or felt something unnatural. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the Diplomat Hotel remains a chilling testament to the tragedies of war and the mysteries of the afterlife. So, if you ever find yourself in Baguio, standing before its ruined walls, will you dare to step inside? This is The Vault of Horrors,